Alright folks, finally took this truck on its maiden voyage there, and just got back, and it's okay. Fixed the vacuum leak, put a new PCV valve in it, and that cleared a lot of that mess up. Still sounds like complete garbage. I mean, and I'm not just saying it to say, I mean, this thing just, the motor don't sound horrible, but we got to do something about these mufflers. It makes it absolutely sound like garbage. I'm gonna go up under here and I'm gonna have to get a cut-off wheel or something, but they gotta come off. I mean, them things sound like complete crap. So I'm gonna get me a cut-off wheel. We're gonna get these old junk mufflers off here, and I'll probably just leave it straight pipes for now. I hate the sound of straight pipes. They sound cool at first, you know, like for a day, then after that they just get annoying. But either way, I'd rather listen to a straight pipe than I would with these mufflers. Just, you know, it sounds like somebody took a bunch of rocks and, you know, pocket change in their pocket there, you know. Wasn't me. And I put it in a paint can and put it on a paint shaker / mixer, and it's just, you know. But them mufflers up underneath there, these mufflers, they gotta come off. I can't even get a good view of them. That's not it. Well, but they're right above the drive shaft there, but they are coming off. They're coming off. It makes this truck sound like complete garbage. So we're gonna get rid of them. Oh yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you can turn around there. That's fine. Got a lot of people around here. Yeah. Anyway. So, I'm gonna cut them mufflers off this thing. And I don't really like, you know, the sound of straight pipes, but anything is better than, you know. But it did fairly decent going down the road. I took it up about, oh, it's probably about 7-8 miles away from here. And it did okay. I mean, it still ain't right. We don't have a passing gear. You know, I got to hook that mess up there. So, I mean, yeah, you can manually shift it. You can do it like that. You know, you got to go. Hey, I don't do it when I'm driving down the road. But if I'm at a complete stop, you know, I'll have manual shifted. I'll put it in first, second, and then third. But, you don't want to be, you know, take it from third to second going 70, 80 mile an hour. Otherwise, it's going to go kaboom! You know? But anyway, yeah, this motor, it's time to come out. I mean, it's still not right. I think that what's actually really wrong with it right now is I did fix the vacuum leak where I pulled the choke off of it. It had a vacuum leak on the side there. So I took in it's a little vacuum port, threw a screw in it, put some thread sealer on it. It's not the right way to do it, but I don't really care because this 305 is going to be coming out very quickly soon. And a 454 is going to be going in place of this. So anyway, we stopped that vacuum leak there. Had a vacuum leak right there. And I still think it's got a vacuum leak. I think them intake, or not the intake, but I think the carburetor gaskets are leaking a little bit. But it runs a lot better. Did the PCV valve there, and that cleared a lot of that mess up. But this poor old 305, I don't even know how it runs, to be honest. But I think the real issue with the whole thing is it's when I did the quote unquote top end, freshening it up there. I think I mean, this motor's just plain Jane. It's just worn out. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I think it's actually all the cylinders are kind of all uneven, and the compression's all uneven on all the 8 cylinders, and I think that's what's actually wrong with it. I don't think it's actually anything on my part I did. I think it's just uneven because, I mean, when I had the heads off of it, it did have a little ridge in it, and that's what I think is actually wrong with it. Is the compression's a little uneven on some of the cylinders, and it's like it's still not running right. I mean, it's okay, but it just does not seem right. And of course, me relapping the valves, I mean, and freshening it up, you know, that did clear a lot of it up, but it's still, I mean, it ain't like taking a machine shop, but it's still, that's what I think is actually still wrong with it. And I think it honestly wouldn't hurt to throw a cam and a set of lifters in this thing, a new time chain set, because, you know, freshen up a little more there. I think that would get rid of a lot of that, but I think the real issue is the compression's all uneven. I think it's just all over the place. It's got enough compression to run, of course, but I think, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to do a compression test on it, but it ain't really worth it. I mean, I could do it just for the heck of it if I want it, but it's not really worth it. But we gotta adjust this alternator a little bit. It's a little bit too far back, so I might have to get some washers or something and shim that thing forward a little bit, because it's making the bell squeal like crazy, and it's annoying, and it's really embarrassing, and so I gotta correct that. But it's just a little bit too far back. You can kind of tell by looking at the pulley alignment there. If you look at our alternator there, and then our water pump pulley there, you can just tell that it's definitely uneven. A little bit too far back. It just needs to come up about not even a 1/4 inch, just enough to, so it'll be running true, and that'll get rid of that squeal. But it don't squeal all the time. But I don't like stuff like that, because that's embarrassing, and you know, it might be a POS 305, but you know, I don't want to be sitting in the parking lot and start it up, and you know, I already gotta listen to the mufflers back here go. I don't want to be listening to a belt squealing on top of it. Then it's really embarrassing. So I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna get a couple more things worked out on this thing. At least get it straightened out enough where we can just, I'm just gonna send it. We're gonna let it ride and call it good. I think we got a lobe on the cam honestly getting ready to get wiped out. Either that, or we got a lifter getting ready to fail, because something's not happy, I can tell. But it kind of comes and goes. It's not ticking and packing and carrying on and all that, but you can hear it. If you really get down on it just a little bit and let off of it, you can hear it. I don't know. It might be just coming faintly from the pulleys. I don't know, but you can kind of barely hear it. But I don't want to keep going on and on and on and on, but I'm going to straighten this alternator out, try and get rid of that squeal. And I'm going to take a cutoff wheel, and we're going to cut them mufflers off and chuck them things. And eventually, when I get some money, I'll put some glass packs on it, and that should take care of that issue. But the whole issue, like I've said before, with the whole thing, is I bought them mufflers. One is a Flowmaster, and the other is a Speedway muffler. And the one side is okay, but the other one, the whole inside of it is done falling apart, and you can hear it, and it just sounds like garbage, literally. But I'm gonna cut that off, and I just don't like running that much like it anyway, because I'm scared that it's going to end up burn a valve, or you know, won't let the exhaust free flow. Because I mean, let's face it, folks, I mean, if the muffler is not free flowing like it's supposed to be, and it's got a bunch of stuff that fell all apart inside of it, you know, that's going to cause a restriction, and that can potentially burn a valve. So I need to kind of cut them off before it gets a little too late. If it ain't burning a valve already. But the motor is okay, but it's honestly, I would call this a failure pretty much. But kind of really just put a band-aid on the whole issue to begin with. But it runs better, we'll say. But it still ain't right. And I'm not really worried about it. We're just going to run it. And I mean, hopefully I really don't want to screw the motor up. But hopefully, as long as it lasts long enough now, until we get our 454, we'll be alright. But we're definitely going to get a 454 in this thing. I should have that thing. It'll be halfway paid off. Thank God. by tomorrow, so we'll have it halfway paid off, and we'll just have to baby it. And I just won't be taking this thing on any too long distance trips, we'll just say, because I don't want to be sitting on the side of the road. But our coolant system in this thing is full of garbage, so I got to flush that. But that's where we're at there. I kept playing with the timing. I got that as close as I can get it. Yeah, I didn't use a timing light. I do have a timing light, but you know, the whole thing, it's no point putting a lot of effort into it. You know, I'll do the best I can with this one, but you know, it's no point putting a lot of effort in it, because the whole issue with the whole thing, it don't matter how much you adjust the timing, how much you play with the carburetor and all that. I really truly think that some of the cylinders, you know, the compression's a little uneven, and that's why it's running funny, and it's just not right. I mean, and the only way to truly fix that is to pull it out and, you know, take it to the machine shop. But it's a 305. I mean, it ain't worth it. But it's be a good motor, you know, just to get something, you know, back and forth. But I really don't think I would run it long term. But it's just plain wore out. I mean, it's got a ridge in it. That's what's wrong with it, and it really didn't help it. I think it helped a little bit, but I think it kind of made it worse by doing the top end on it and freshening up the heads. And I guess now it really, you really tell that it's definitely not right. But the oil pressure's kind of a little low too on it. And it's always been a little low, but that's where we're at. So I'm going to end this video here, and 454 will be in here soon. I got to change these motor mounts here, not the ones on the block right there, but these right here, the actual frame mounts. I'm gonna swap them out, and when we put our 454 in here, I'm gonna take and we're gonna run stock exhaust manifolds. I'm not running hitters. I don't, you know, this has been planned for a long time. I'm gonna run the stock exhaust manifolds and run them, and then we're going to keep our power steering, of course, power brakes, and this will get rid of some. We're just going to run the big block factory style, you know, alternator brackets, pulley setup, and all that. I'm pretty sure I'll have to run a short water pump, but these trucks actually did come with a 402 or 396, you know, 400, whatever you want to call it, same thing. But I'm pretty sure they had a short water pump. Almost had to have been a short water pump setup. It might have been a long water pump. I mean, it's pretty long, but it's a lot of space. I'm gonna assume it had a short water pump. But that'll get rid of all this mess. And the way I want this set up is we'll have the stock exhaust manifolds, the original style. It ain't gonna be original to, you know, a 67 to 72 C10 truck, but I want a original style, we'll say, pulley setup and alternator brackets and all that good stuff. We'll keep our alternator on the passenger side. I think it was on the passenger side on the big block. But yeah, we're not running hitters or anything like that. And like I've always said, eventually that 454, until I find my 427 tall deck like I want, and a turbo 400, eventually this whole body on this truck, except for this fender of course, is going to go on an F-150. That's been the dream from the get-go, and you know, that's just always been the plan. So eventually that 454, it's going to go on in a F-150 full drive frame setup, long wheelbase. And trust me, I'm so tempted just to say heck with it, and I'm so tempted just to unbolt this bed, since I got the bed off that 89, because the frame on that is just a shade wider. I think it's about maybe an inch, something like that. But I've been so tempted to pull this bed off this truck, in the cab and the front clip, and sit it over on that truck and take the cab and everything off at 89 just to see what it looks like, even just a bed. I've been so tempted just to do that, because it's not that hard. I got a cherry picker, and I'm just so tempted just to go get a couple 2x4s and put across the bed, take a toolbox out, and take a cherry picker and raise this thing up and sit on the F-150 frame, because I'm just curious to see what it looks like width-wise underneath and see what clearance we got and all that. And just so tempted to do that, but I don't want to do all that because, you know, that's a two-wheel drive truck, and I'm just not going to do that. But I'm going to figure out a way somehow or another, because I want, the whole point of doing this too is so it'll be full drive. We'll have the front lockout hubs, and I want to keep these wheels because I like these wheels. I don't want to run forward wheels or nothing like that. I like to be able to retain the 6-lug bolt pattern if I could, but I don't want to run spacers. I don't like spacers because to me, I just don't like them. But I don't know if you can get axles for the front and rear. I'm gonna think you guys might be big enough. They're big enough in diameter. If you could get them drilled for a Chevrolet 6-lug bolt pattern, that'd be the way to go. But I'll have to see. But as long as the back spacing and all that's right. But yeah, we got the 454. It's about halfway paid off, and it won't be long, folks. I'll be so glad to yank this POS out of here. And just this whole truck, I mean, like I've always said, that's why this truck, the nickname of this truck is it's the basket case, because it is. I ain't saying it to say it, but it is a major extreme basket case. I mean, everything you can, it ain't a panel on this whole thing that's either not rotted out or either, you know, just falling off, or, you know, whatever. Like, here's a good example here. At the bottom of this fender, the fender looks straight, right? The front of the fender there is completely rotted out, so that's no good. The hood is all dented all to pieces on the front there. Plus, it's got a little rot right in there, but that's fixable. That's not no big deal. But I mean, it looks like somebody took, there's a nice dent right in there, but it ain't. So the hood is, you know, it ain't a panel on this whole thing that is straight, but or got something wrong with it. A cowl, actually I take it back, it might be a straight cowl there. Might be a straight cowl. Yeah, I think it's probably the only panel on the whole truck that ain't got something wrong with it. Yeah, it's actually good. It ain't rotted out, and it actually ain't did it all up. This is gonna go. That's getting shaved off. I hate the antennas on these style trucks. They're really ugly in my opinion. But the door's rotted out. Passenger side door's rotted out. The bed is nothing but a Bondo bucket here. I mean, look. I did not do that. They sit there and put Bondo over it for no reason whatsoever. Of course, the bed's got the typical rot, but this bed on this whole truck is just, it is rough. There's nothing but Bondo down in here, but it's probably about, it's probably about maybe a 1/4 inch thick, and it had Bondo all over this whole complete side up to about right in here, and then it stopped for no reason. Just because they used to have the trim that went down the side, you can kind of still see some of the marks from it. But I mean, the mirrors, you can't even see out of this mirror, either one, the driver's side or the passenger side. And I'm not trying to pick it apart, but it's just this stuff. This truck is nothing but a basket case. The grill's all screwed up, all dented all to pieces, got overspray on it. Still got tape on it too. But the headlight's screwed up because I hit a deer in it. So it's pushed in that way a little bit on this side. See how that side's pushed back more and then this side's sticking out more? So the headlight's junk. But I mean, I did this too by accident. So that happened back in 2017, 2018? Yeah, it's 17. Yeah, it was 2017. That happened in 2017. This doors actually was pretty nice, but got some rot at the bottom there. But and this side was the same way. It was completely full Bondo, packed and everything else. I've tried to push this dent out here. I push it out and then it just pops right in. So I just kind of gave up on that. And we're not putting any of that trim back on, ever. I do not want any of that trim back on this. I think the only trim that I will actually retain on the whole truck is to be this piece of trim right here, and then around the back glass. And I'm glad that, in one way, I didn't like this clear back glass like that. At first I didn't like it, but it kind of grew on me a little bit, because it took a little while, but it grew on me a little while. Now I kind of like it. I'm so glad it's this style and not the other style. I just don't like the other style, in my opinion. But I mean, this is just me though. It's my personal opinion. But got issues with the rear view mirror. It won't stay up. I mean, it won't, you got to keep moving it up. Every time you hit a bump, it'll go here. I'll just show y'all. Got issues going on with that. So it won't, you hit a bump or something, it'll, we got issues there. This is the dome light lens there. The seat is screwed up because got a spring hanging out right there. And this seat, believe it or not, is actually better than the original that was in here, because the original seat, I mean, it was no saving it. I mean, that seat was truly done. I think the only thing that was even good on it maybe was the top. That was it. I mean, the bottom, the sliders to slide the seat back and forth, they were all screwed up and out of whack. They've been hacked and packed and welded on and cut, and just, that poor seat was butchered. But I don't know what in the world was going on there. But got issues, got spaghetti hanging underneath the dash there still. But I gotta pull that old clutch pedal out, because at one time I did all that stuff and threw that clutch pedal in here and did all that because I was going to put a 4-speed in it. And of course I can't do it because I can't hook the Z-bar up correctly anyway with this 305. And I was going to do that anyway because I got a good flywheel and a good clutch and pressure plate, brand new. But I can't put the Z-bar on here because this block, I showed that before in the previous video, does not have the bolt hole to be able to bolt up that little pivot ball to make the Z-bar and everything function like it's supposed to. So I can't do nothing with it. But otherwise I would have did it just to do something fun. And that way I could ditch these lines here. And just have fun with the 4-speed for a little while. Or even a 3-speed. I actually got a 3-speed too. But one of them is going to go in that Biscayne. And I'm still kind of up in the air about that. Either that, if I go with the 4-speed in the Biscayne, then, I don't know, it's one of the two. But I was going to let this truck live out its final days there, until we build it and put on the F-150 frame. I was going to throw that 4-speed in it just to eliminate a lot of issues. That way it eliminates the kickdown cable for the Turbo 350 and eliminates all them issues with the transmission coil lines leaking like crazy. That'll get rid of all that mess, and that way the transmission pan is leaking like crazy. Plus it's wore out, and it's just, it still shifts and everything, but you can just tell it's wore out. But that's what I was planning on doing. I was going to throw a 4-speed or either Saginaw 3-speed, one of the two, because I got a brand new a bent seat shifter for this thing, still brand new in the box, and never even put it in. But it curves specially just to go around this bent seat here, because I don't want buckets in this thing ever. I don't like buckets, not in this particular truck. But I was going to do that, but I can't bolt the Z-bar up, and I don't want to go to a hydraulic clutch because it's just not worth it. Because whatever I do to it is going to have to come right back out. When we take the body and the front clip and everything, of course that fender will get replaced with another good one, as well as the grill later on. But we're doing all this stuff just to let the truck live out its final days as one piece in a original style, C10 there. Let it live out its last days, and they're just having fun with it. But yeah, this is what we got. And this is definitely a basket case. The bumper, I did that got pushed in. The tailgates don't even stay up. It's just, this truck, folks, I'm gonna be honest, this truck is right at the borderline of getting crushed. And I don't ever believe in crushing nothing, but this truck is just got so many issues that it's just, I mean, it's about the borderline of getting crushed. But, I'm not going to do that, of course, but, it's borderline of getting crushed / parts truck. We'll just say that. Very borderline. It's a shame because the frame on this truck is, I mean, it's absolutely straight as can be. It's very solid. There ain't no rot on the frame anywhere. But it's a basket case, plain and simple. But I'm going to go get some red paint here and get it close as I can to match that door up here soon. And I'm going to spray this whole bed and the top of the roof and everything. Get this thing all one color because I'm sick of looking at it like that because it looks goofy looking. But kind of went through a goofy stage where I was painting all in funny colors and all that. And I don't mind this red. But, of course, it used to be nice till it faded out. But yeah, I was working on this fender and everything. I was trying to take everything down to bare metal and see what was what, and then of course that accident happened. But I gotta find a fender. I need a good fender, a good passenger side door, a good tailgate, just like what's on here. This is the original tailgate. It's kind of a shame, but it's no saving it. It's done. But I want to find an original tailgate that's got the Chevrolet embossed in it like that. But exact same tailgate. I want the exact same tailgate. But I am going to save this tailgate though, and we'll never reuse it on anything. But yeah, this is the original tailgate. There's some of the original paint right there, the yellow. But